A very good morning and welcome all of you to the daily news analysis for 15th of April 2025 with me Jatin Verma. So guys, in today's news analysis we are going to discuss about Sudan, Darfur area, why the civil strife in Sudan is becoming more deadly and more harmful in terms of refugees, the displacement of people. Then wealthy Indians are underreporting their income to avoid taxes. Despite the 12 lakh rupees exemption, despite the hyperbole around income tax slab rates revision for pro middle class, for upper middle class people, despite that phenomena, people of India are underreporting their income, leading to an adverse tax to GDP ratio. So why the wealthy Indians are hiding their income? Rental income is not being reported. Agricultural income, as it is exempt under Income Tax Act, is also being abused to hide income. This is one of the articles. Then here, surge in the gold loans. Again, an article related to RBI. An increase in the gold prices is leading to more people borrowing loans by pledging their gold. What are the norms for overexposure, for preventing the overexposure of banking and financial institutions to these gold loans? Because of the Donald Trump, the uncertainty emanating from the trade war, people are hedging their funds into gold. Gold prices are increasing, and the people who are having gold already, the lower middle income class or the middle income class people, they are borrowing more gold loans. More to this phenomena at the relevant place today in this news analysis. Now here from the map, United Nations civilian death toll in Sudan's Darfur region, tops 300 in it surges 300 in last 2 days. What are the reasons behind it? Okay, displacement, the famine and other problems being faced by the displaced people. So Africa, why the smaller countries of Africa are at war with itself, with themselves, despite being resource rich, despite being blessed with a lot of underground resources, diamond, coal, etc. We'll study more on this. Then amendment to RTI, this editorial we have covered in today's news analysis. Who funds the political parties in India? ECI data shows. We are going to see questions, the prelims questions for and the mains questions for all these topics. So let's get started with the first topic of the day. Sudan. You already know we have covered this topic many a times. Sudan and South Sudan got separated in 2011. River Nile roughly defines the boundary between the two regions. Now Sudan, the Darfur region especially, it is at war with itself. Why? Because the two leaders, one from the army and other from the paramilitary forces, are ambitious about leading this country, becoming the de facto president or dictator in this country. And that is why they are fighting with each other. Army says it is officially designated to take control of the area, but the chief of another force, RSF, says that it is going to take control of the area. It is more legitimate. And the brunt is being borne by the people, the civilians. The death toll, the civilians getting displaced, the numbers are rising every day. At least 24,000 people have been tallied as being killed, according to United Nations mission for Sudan here, right? The long simmering tensions between military and paramilitary leaders broke out in the capital, Khartoum. What is the capital of Sudan? Khartoum is the capital. Let's first have a look at the question, how the question has been framed in 2023. Just awareness is needed for these type of questions, as I said earlier also. So see this question. In the recent years, Chad, Guinea, Mali and Sudan, they caught the international attention. They should catch your attention too. For which one of the following common reasons? So they are just asking what is the common reason. This question becomes easy despite UPSC trying to maneuver with the quality of the questions, with the framing of the questions, so that the guessing or elimination is not possible. If you know reason for one of the strife or for the international news because of one of the countries, either Chad, Guinea, Mali or Sudan, you will be able to attempt the question. Okay, so the southward expansion of Sahara Desert, successful coups, discovery of rich deposits. The common reason here is D, right? 2023 preliminary question, preliminary exam question. So this is how the mere awareness can fetch you 2 marks here. All right. Let's have a look at this article now. Sudan, this is Sudan. This is the capital of Sudan, Khartoum. Then Lake Victoria, you have to study about. Lake Tana, there are various other lakes in this region that you should be aware of. Okay, now the paramilitary rapid support forces, they are known as RSF. They are carrying out the recent attacks after the Sudanese military late last month were able to take control over the Khartoum. At its peak, rapid stabilization or rapid support forces were even able to take control of Khartoum region. Now I ask you a few questions here. Does Sudan open out into the Red Sea? If so, what is the port located at Red Sea? What is the port that belongs to Sudan, if at all there is any? Okay, so what is the total length of river Nile, and what is the connection between Lake Victoria and river Nile? Lake Tana, Lake Nasser is there. There are so many lakes, you have to study about them. Lake Victoria, on what tropical line does it lie? So answer these questions for your prelims preparation. Okay, gradually we study the map every day, I mean every alternate day at least. So gradually you will see that your command over the map areas will become, it will improve gradually, and you would be able to answer these questions with ease, provided you are answering these things, provided you are thoroughly studying these things. Okay, now a conference is going to be held in London to basically mark an anniversary on this fight, of this particular fight going on between RSF, Rapid Support Forces, and official military of Sudan. So military leader says that he is legitimately fighting this war because it is the duty of the army to protect the areas. Rapid Support Forces, they say that they are also official paramilitary forces. In the light of no elected government, in the light of lack of democratic elements or lack of respect for the democratic elements, both these leaders are fighting amongst each other, putting the people's life into peril, putting inviting a lot of troubles. Like Sudan is facing the famine, and despite that, instead of providing relief and rehabilitation, they are fighting amongst each other, causing further displacement of the people of Sudan region. This was about the awareness of the map. As I said, you have to be aware about various lakes. First of all, Lake Victoria, Lake Tana, then Lake Nasser also is there. Okay, which countries are these lakes located in? Then Toshka lakes are there, Lake Marriott is there. Just study about these lakes. I pull out some questions for you every day related to map, related to other things. It is your duty to answer them for your better preparation, guys. Now moving further, this is 2023 question, this is 2022 question. UPSC prelims official question. Which one of the following lakes of West Africa has become dry and turned into desert? Okay, Lake Victoria, Lake Faguibine, then Lake Oguta, Lake Volta. Which of the lakes has turned dry? So this was 2022 question. Just awareness can fetch you 2 to 4 marks. 2022, 2023, at least 5 to 6 questions are appearing from the map study, from mere awareness of the international events and affairs. Now moving to this article, yesterday also we had studied this. What is happening is RTI Act is being amended in a backdoor manner by inserting some clauses in the Data Protection Act. The Data Protection Act has already been enacted. The act rules, the rules related to the act, which will bring the act into force, they are being amended, they are being drafted in a manner that the bureaucrats, the public servants need not provide certain aspects of their information which might be declared as private information. Okay, in the light of right to privacy judgment of the Supreme Court Puttaswamy case, the government is saying, the Ministry of Electronics and Information and Technology is saying that it can take out the information from the purview of the RTI Act to protect the private aspects of the information related to bureaucrats. But the writer says here, even though the qualifications, the degree, the marks secured by the IAS aspirants, etc., it can be taken out of the purview of RTI. But the recent incidents like one of Pooja Khedkar, Abhishek Singh, and many other IAS, IPS, IRS officers who have faked their documents might also be taken out of purview of the RTI, for example, under the garb of right to privacy. Okay, so yesterday also we had seen that the Putta Swami judgment of the Supreme Court did not say that the private aspects of the private details of the bureaucrats are clashing with the public aspects of their duties. If there is a public servant, an IAS officer, and he is amassing wealth disproportionate to his known sources of income, okay, 500 crore rupees found at the residence of an IAS officer in Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, these instances are coming. Somebody might say that the how many flats, how many properties an IAS officer owns is not a matter of public disclosure. Why? Because it is his private details. It is his assets earned with the hard-earned money. But who knows that he was amassing wealth? So there is a very thin silver line between the public aspect of a duty of a bureaucrat or an IAS officer or a civil servant or a public servant and the private aspects. Okay, when you are holding a public position, public official, you are hardly any aspect of your life remains private except for your body parts. Agreed? Okay, but now what the government is trying to do is amending section 8 clause 1 subclause J. It talks about secret aspects. Okay, it talks about the secret information that can be denied under RTI Act. So section 8 talks about things which are outside the purview of RTI Act. Right to information is not applicable to them. So for those things which have been kept outside the purview, now they can be, the amendment has been introduced to section 8, which has been introduced by section 44 clause 3 of Digital Personal Data Protection Act. Okay, in the digital domain, the Data Privacy Act is, this DPDP Act is trying to protect our privacy. We includes here the bureaucrats also. After all, they are individuals, but the problem is that they are public functionaries. And the recent instances of corruption, of bribe, of buying Benami property doesn't give us the confidence to take out their public information, public duties related information from outside the taking it out from the purview of the RTI Act. We do not have enough confidence in the light of the recent incidents like 𝐂𝐇𝐀𝐍𝐃𝐄𝐃 faking documents. Then there are other IAS, IPS officers doing the same thing. Then the instances of in-service officers amassing wealth. Can we take the risk of taking this precious information about their assets, about their private affairs details, from taking them out from the RTI? So this is the problem. RTI Act is being hollowed out in this manner. They are not directly amending the RTI Act. What they are saying is, this is RTI Act, okay, section 8 clause 1 subclause J deals with the information that is not to be provided under RTI Act. For example, if any case is still under investigation by CBI, that case's information might not be provided under RTI Act. But now what DPDP Act is trying to do is, section 44 of Digital Data Privacy Act, Digital Personal Data Privacy Act is trying to do is, it is saying that section 44 might be used to assert the privacy under the rubric of the privacy of public servant. Because of his privacy, his information which might be related to public yet private affairs, public yet private dealings, might not be provided under RTI Act. Now they are putting this information, certain aspects of the information related to an IAS, related to any public servant, under section 8. Section 8 says that some information can be denied under RTI Act. Some information can be kept secret. Okay, so this is it. Okay, complex words are secret information, public servant here. Okay, then let me know whatever you feel is complex or technical. I would elaborate on that. Okay, from my side, I'll be taking care of explaining every technical, every complex word, jargon that comes here. But if in case you feel that certain aspect is technical for you, you can let me know in the comment section. I'm keeping a tab, keeping a watch on the comment section, Aditya. So I'll try to clarify that. Now, RTI as a burden. Clearly, some people in governance and administration have treated the RTI Act and its provisions on transparency and disclosure to be encumbrances, as burden. So some public servants, some IAS officers, they take it as a burden to disclose information. And there have been successive attempts to dilute RTI Act. This is not the first attempt. The previous government had also brought about certain amendments of the similar nature to put information like IAS officers are required to disclose their asset details. Okay, how many assets are in their name and their spouse's name, their wife's or husband's name. So that RTI amendment was later on deleted by the previous Congress government, UPA government, way back in 2009-10, right? So that has already happened. Now what this government is doing is, meaty Ministry of Electronics and Information and Technology is saying that to comply, to make RTI Act compliant with, to make RTI Act in sync with the DPDP Act, in sync with the Supreme Court's judgment in the Puttaswamy Act, in the Puttaswamy case 2017. In this Puttaswamy case, the Supreme Court had declared the right to privacy as a fundamental right. So under the garb of right to privacy, now certain aspects of the information related to the public servant are being or could be denied under the RTI Act going forward, once this Act, DPDP Act, comes into force. Okay, so DPDP Act has already been passed. Now the rules are being enacted, rules are being framed, and they will still soon be notified, after which some aspects of the information might be denied to the citizens at large. Okay, so I ask you a question: is RTI Act available to every resident of India? B, every citizen of India? This is a small question. Is RTI Act available to every resident of India? A, or every citizen of India? B, right? Is it available to foreigners? Basically, this is what I am trying to ask you. Now, Section 8 Clause 1 says that it allows the government bodies to withhold information which relates to public information. Withhold information which relates to public information, provided its disclosure is not related to public interest. So somebody might say, some IAS officer might come up and say that the details of the assets, how many cars, BMWs, Audis or Ferraris is he owning, is not related to his public duty. Okay, so there are very rich IAS officers also, those who are already rich and those who become rich after getting into services. So what cars do they own, how many bungalows do they have, how much expanse of land do they have? They might say, an IAS officer might say, or a department head might say, that information is not required for public interest. But if these IAS officers are amassing wealth, is it not a matter of public interest? The other day we found a case against a judge where he is amassing wealth. Now, if we file an RTI application, for example, how much of currency notes were found at the judge's residence? So judge might say that this information does not matter. What is lying in the outhouse of the Yashwant Verma's house, right? In the storehouse of the Yashwant Verma, the judge whose fire incident was had happened recently. Okay, so this kind of a blurring of lines is there as to what constitutes the public interest and what might be denied under the rubric of right to privacy. So this is the opposition's contention here, that RTI Act is successively being diluted under the rubric of right to privacy. We had yesterday also dealt with it. Just have a look at these sections. Section 44 is important here, and section 8. Okay, section 8 is being diluted. Rather than using verses here, section 44 is adding a certain clause here that says that in the light of the public interest, in the light of the private interest or right to privacy, certain aspects of the public interest can be compromised. Information that was earlier available under the public interest might now be denied under the rubric of right to privacy of an individual. So yesterday we had a very beautiful line in the newspaper. The Puttaswamy judgment, it strikes a fine balance between the individual's right to privacy and institutional transparency. That is the need of the hour for the government to realize that RTI Act, to the extent it requires the disclosure of information in the public interest, disclosure of information related to an individual civil servant, public servant, in the light of the public interest is not compromising the right to privacy of any individual whosoever, right? So this is the problem here, right? Now, this again repeats everything. Section 44 of the DPDP Act amends Section 8 by allowing the government bodies to simply withhold the personal information without the safeguard provisions, without safeguarding the safeguard provisions on the public interest or other such exceptions. There are no safeguards as to what constitutes public interest. The definition given in the Act is very vague. Okay, so definition is not clarifying here. Now, government's defense is that this amendment, section 44, seeks to strike a fine balance between right to information and right to privacy. Yesterday, as I said, institutional transparency should be the hallmark of any amendment. Okay, any right to privacy, etc. Individuals' right to privacy cannot be more important than institutional transparency. If that individual who is a public servant, his information needs to be shared with public in the light of the public interest requirement. So the larger interest of the public should guide the individual right to privacy also. Section 44 clause 3 was aimed at preventing RTI Act's misuse and was to harmonize the requirement. So I gave you an example. Imagine 𝐂𝐀𝐃𝐄𝐍𝐃𝐄𝐃 type of a candidate tomorrow comes and says that what is the disability she is facing is her private detail. She cannot disclose her private detail. Abhishek Singh, you all know Abhishek Singh, the IAS officer who resigned to pursue his career as actor. So if we ask him, if we ask the DOPT, the government, as to what kind of disability was he facing, was he amputated or was he deaf and dumb, or what kind of disability was he facing, government might say that these details are related to private aspects of Abhishek Singh's life and hence cannot be disclosed in the public. But the very fact that he's applied for civil services under the disability category gives us the right, gives the citizens the right to know as to whether the disability quota was used by him in the right manner or not, right? So this is how the lines get blurred here. Coming to the next topic today, of the day today, vague definition of personal information. The problem here is personal information has been vaguely defined here in section 44 clause 3. So either the government should amend the definition, redefine the definition in a clear manner so that it is not ambiguously vaguely interpreted. Okay, so that there is no ambiguity about this definition of public information, personal information. What does it mean? Then, therefore, the amendment using DPDP Act is unnecessary and unwarranted. So, this is how it is there. Now, coming to the UPSC mains questions on RTI, today we find that in spite of various measures like prescribing codes of conduct, setting up vigilance cells, commissions, RTI, active media and strengthening of legal mechanisms, corrupt practices are not coming under control. Okay, despite everything, code of conduct, RTI, vigilance commission, media, active media, corruption is not coming down. Evaluate the effectiveness of these measures with justification. 2015 UPSC question, guys. Then, second, the RTI Act is not all about citizens' empowerment alone. It essentially redefines the concept of accountability. So, earlier, government was holding to account the government officials. Only government was able to know what a corrupt official is doing. Asset details, everything was to be filed with government only. But RTI Act had, for the first time from 2005, ever since it was implemented, okay, it has redefined the concept of accountability. Citizens are now able to ask for the information about the practices of the corrupt bureaucrats, of the government, of the administration. So the entire concept of accountability has been redefined. Earlier it was government vis-a-vis government. Now it is government vis-a-vis citizens. Right? So that is the importance of RTI. These are all previous year questions. This question was of 2018. There is a view that Official Secrets Act is an obstacle to the implementation of RTI Act. Do you agree to this view? Official Secrets Act. Under the Official Secrets Act 1968, government can declare any information to be secret information, top secret. The file will be labeled as confidential, and then you cannot ask for any information contained in that file, because that file will be put under, the information contained in the file will be put under the just discussed section 8 clause 1 subclause J, which takes the information outside the purview of RTI. Clear? So section 8 talks about the information that could be denied to the public. Section 8 of RTI Act we are talking about. Now, an independent and empowered social audit mechanism is an absolute must in every sphere of public life. Yesterday, while discussing Manrega, we had talked about social audit. So, social audit, again, a tool of public accountability of the government to the public. So, this is how the transparency type, the accountability of the government type of questions have been asked in the recent past, guys. Now, coming to the other aspect, Telangana has formulated a draft bill to take care of the interest of the gig economy workers. Who are gig economy workers? First of all, an individual employed transactionally on a time or task based manner. So if you hire an Uber taxi, okay, Uber is hiring the taxi driver only for a particular task. Alright guys, so Uber is hiring that driver only for a particular task. After the task is completed, Uber will be paying a certain amount of money to that driver. Is the driver on salary basis? No, the driver is not on salary basis. So this kind of an arrangement where the worker is hired through an application, through the app, Uber app, Ola app, or you can talk about urban company. So these are the workers who are hired on a transactional basis. They are not on the payrolls of the company. That is why these workers are more vulnerable. They can be shunted out any time. After there is sluggishness in the work. If the work is not being generated, they will sit idle in their taxi, Uber or Ola the whole day. If Zomato delivery boy is not getting the parcels, enough number of parcels to be delivered, he will still be there at the beck and call of the company, at the mercy of the company. So now what is happening is, since labor is a concurrent subject. What type of a subject labor is? The labor entry is given in which list? Concurrent list. What is the entry number? Please answer in the comment section. What is the entry number of the labor as an entry? So now what is happening is, these laborers, these people who are being hired on a transactional basis, their rights are not being protected. They do not have any social security measures like provident fund, pension, etc. after they retired. Recently, you must be knowing that Government of India had covered these gig economy workers under Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. Now, as its part, contributing its bit to it, Telangana as the state is taking the lead in this manner, that now they have framed a bill to regulate the working conditions of these gig economy workers, to streamline the working conditions. What does it say? Gig and platform workers welfare board will be constituted, and this board will exercise the powers conferred on and perform the duties and functions assigned to it. What will this do? Any platform like Zomato, Swiggy, Blinkit or Uber, Ola, if it violates any of the working conditions prescribed under the Act, it can be levied with a penalty of up to 2 lakh rupees and a jail which might be up to 1 year under the bill. If this bill will be enacted, there will be a gig and platform workers welfare board. So as the informalization, this gig economy workers, they are informal workers, more often informal workers who do not have any set conditions of work. There is no provident fund for them. They are not the regular employees. They are not getting a fixed salary, minimum salary, etc. All that they are getting is that the moment the call will be reflected on their app, they have to go. The moment the taxi would be booked and it will reflect on their application, only then will they get paid. Are there any predefined working conditions that they will work only for 10 hours a day, 8 hours a day? No. No Minimum Wages Act, no Provident Fund Act, nothing is applicable to them. So that is why even as India is rising, the blue collar workers are getting converted into red collar workers or black collar workers with their terms remaining undefined. That is why the many state governments and the Union Ministry of Labor and Employment has come to the mercy of these gig economy workers by enacting certain provisions in the 4 labor codes at the central level and like Telangana at the state level. What does it say? If an aggregator fails to pay the welfare fund to the board for gig workers' welfare, it can be punished with imprisonment up to 1 year or a fine up to 2 lakh rupees. Then what are the other conditions? Board as a representative body. This board, welfare board, gig economy workers, gig workers welfare board will not only be the government body, bureaucrats body. It will be having the representation from the civil society, representation from the women as well, right? And there will be certain bureaucrats and the members, the 4 representatives of gig platforms will also be there. So it will be a consultative body devising mechanisms for the welfare of the gig workers. Even though this news article is of Telangana, but these gig workers, the unemployment is a recurring theme in the UPSC's questions these days. So what are the various steps taken by the center and the state governments for the welfare of gig economy workers? Recently, as I said, the central government has given them the benefit under Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, PMJAY. Now the problem of India is we were earlier having contractualization of labors, okay, contractual labor. Thanks to the advent of, now contractual labor means Tatas will not hire the labor directly. Tata will hire a contractor and that contractor will provide them the labor. Let's say a group of 100 workers will be provided to Tata company or Adani company or any big company, Ambuja Cement for manufacturing cement. 100 workers will be provided by the contractor. This contractor may not provide the minimum wages to these workers. Okay. Now, what is the difference with the advent of information and technology revolution in our country? The IT revolution in our country has created these type of gig economy jobs, okay, whereby jobs are generated through just a platform or an application. Like Amazon is there, okay, Zomato is there. The people will be booking the food or ordering the food. Here is a person, here are the people ordering food, right? These people ordering food, they will place the order and this biker, the Zomato delivery boy, will receive a notification and he will be paid a share out of the money being paid as the delivery charges by the customer. So this is the arrangement. Is he having any defined terms and conditions of employment? No. Only thing he will get is an incentive, is a share out of every such order booking, every such delivery. So the problem here is sometimes they work for as long as 12 hours, 18 hours a day to make 2500 rupees or sometimes 1500 rupees a day. This is the problem, that they can be fired anytime because of misconduct, because of delay in delivery, etc. That is why this Telangana bill says that salient provisions of the bill, no more hire and fire. If any worker is to be fired, the aggregators are expected to set up an internal inquiry committee for the welfare of the workers. Gig workers can be terminated only after due inquiry and only by giving valid reasons. That means gig workers will be less vulnerable now. Alright, then further they will have to be notified at least 7 days before their termination that they are being terminated. Right now what happens is, the moment they are terminated, they just get a notification on their application on the Uber, Ola or Zomato app that your services have been terminated. Thanks, have a good luck. That's it. Even they do not wish them good luck. So that's the problem now. The aggregators must provide and maintain, as far as it is reasonably practicable, a working environment that is safe and without risk to the health of the platform based workers. Okay, sometimes you interact with an Uber driver, Ola driver, they get the calls back to back, they get the bookings back to back, that they do not even get the time to freshen up, to have their meals, and they end up chewing tobacco products or smoking, etc. in the gap between picking up the customer and dropping the customer. Such are the working conditions. And some of the delivery boys who are on bike, they are made to deliver the order within 15 minutes, thereby risking their health in the tense traffic conditions. In the already choked traffic conditions, they have to maneuver their bike like a snake so that they can reach on time. So these type of working conditions are unwarranted. They will now be regulated by the Telangana bill, at least for the state of Telangana. Now coming to this interesting news article, regressive tax structure. What do we mean by regressive tax structure? If rich people are paying lesser tax than the poor people, the tax system becomes regressive. Conversely, if rich people are paying more tax and poor people, the burden of the tax is less on the poor people, then that becomes progressive taxation system. Now read the news heading. Wealthy Indians are underreporting their income to pay lesser tax. That makes Indian taxation system regressive one. Okay, Delhi School of Economics has conducted a study which says that a paper studying national accounts and sampling asset disclosure by Lok Sabha MPs. It says that rich Indians are likely underreporting their incomes to reduce their income tax payment. Okay, so even though their wealth is increasing, conversely their tax payment is reducing. How is this possible? This is possible only when people are, let's say this, read this line. 1% increase in the family wealth of a rich family is associated with a more than 0.6% decrease in the reported income. So that means if a person earns 1 lakh rupees extra, okay, his income is hidden by more than 60,000 rupees. All right, so they are suppressing their income deliberately, and this decreasing trend in the income wealth ratio persists for all versions of income reported to tax authorities, including taxable income and total declared income. So total declared income means the income which might not be taxable but it is a part of their income. Wealth, etc., selling of property and long-term capital gains, etc. By investing it again, people are trying to suppress their income. This discrepancy is likely due to income concealment. People are concealing their income. So what should the income tax department do about it? The Central Board of Direct Taxes should conduct more raids, should catch the big fish rather than sending notices to petty taxpayers, smaller taxpayers. Okay, even though Nirmala Sitharaman ma'am is busy talking about linkage of Aadhaar card with PAN card, etc., etc., but this kind of a report by a credible institution like Delhi School of Economics tells us that the rich people are hiding more income, even though the government is behind the life of smaller people, the less wealthy people. For the wealthiest households, example those on the 2021 Forbes list of richest Indians, income is estimated to be a mere 1/12 of their wealth. Okay, so if their wealth is 100 crore rupees, their income is divided by 12. So this is what their income is. They are hiding their income. How is it possible that wealth of a person is increasing but his income is not increasing? Right? Suppose I buy a property for 100 crore rupees. I might hide it and say that it was purchased only for 60 lakh rupees because of the difference between the stamp paper value, the declared value of the land and the actual value of the land. Alright, rent, if I am getting 6 lakh rupees rent on that land worth 100 crore rupees, I will declare it to be just 60,000 rupees. Rest of the 5,40,000 rupees will be taken under the table in the black money, in the form of black money, hidden income. So that is how the income tax is being avoided. The result is this results in a regressive taxation structure. Can this be a question? How can the question be framed on this in the UPSC? If income is being concealed, what are the elements of a regressive tax structure? Number one, GST collections are more than income tax collections. That means indirect tax collections are more than direct tax collections. That will make the system regressive because the burden of indirect tax like GDP is equal on everybody. If you go and buy Colgate or Tata tea or Taj Mahal tea, you will also be paying 12% tax. If Anand Ambani goes and buys Tata tea or Taj Mahal tea, he will also be paying 12% tax. Where the Adani is placed and where you are placed, right? So that kind of a difference creates regressive tax structure where both of the people, one ultra rich and one middle class person, is paying same 12% tax. That is why a progressive tax system is the one where the more money is collected from the direct taxes. because through direct tax you can tax Ambani, Adani at 30% of the income, and for the middle income class you can exempt them up to 12 lakh rupees. You can charge them only 10 to 12% tax rate, 15% tax rate, depending upon their income slab. But the problem happens in the direct tax now is when people start hiding their income, what should be done? Government needs to conduct more raids, number one. Number two, property is acting as one of the ways to hide income. So shouldn't the circle rates, the rates at which property is registered, should be in sync with the actual value of the property? Because many people who have black money, who generate money through corrupt means, they buy property and hide their black income, black money. So that black money is being hidden under the carpet of buying property. If the property rates are increased, if the official property rates are increased, then people will have to report their income with which they are buying property. So that is how the government needs to streamline the gap between the actual income and the declared income, the concealed income and the declared income. So this was all in this thing. They also analyzed the data of Lok Sabha MPs. MPs, they have to declare their income before contesting elections. They have to file an affidavit with the returning officer like district collector or DM that these are their assets. They found out that the MPs who had a serious chance at winning, who had a great chance at winning, there was lesser gap between their actual income and the declared income. So read here, a curious exception was candidate with a serious chance of winning whose disclosures showed fewer signs of underreporting because he did not want to get disqualified. If he will underreport his income, if an MP, suppose if I contest the elections for member of parliament, my total wealth is 100 crore rupees, just an example, okay, don't take it otherwise. I will not be hiding my income. I might not declare that my income is just 12 crore rupees. Why? Because if I happen to win and later on my assets are found to be 100 crore rupees, then I will be declared as disqualified. That is why the report says that the increased reported income to wealth ratio for likely winners, the ones who are more probable to win, suggests that media and official scrutiny by NGOs like Association for Democratic Reforms, for Political Reforms, etc., these have a greater impact on the working of the polity, or the declaration of the assets by winning candidates or likely to win candidates. Clear? So this is how you can understand this article. Now coming to who funds political parties in India. EC data shows companies are the biggest donors. Which companies are the biggest donors? Association of Democratic Reforms. You all must be knowing about this NGO. Okay, Association of Democratic Reforms. This is a not-for-profit organization working in the arena of electoral reforms. It has filed many cases in the Supreme Court. Now, what does this say? It says that they had filed an RTI application with the Election Commission of India, which revealed that pharmaceutical companies were the biggest donors, next biggest donors after the electoral trusts. So what are the electoral trusts? How the questions have been asked by UPSC? One by one. Question number, this one, 2017. State subvention or funding of elections. State funding of elections. Should the government, should the Consolidated Fund of India fund the elections in India? This is one of the recurring theme by Indrajit Sen Gupta committee. Then National Commission to review the working of constitution. I have incorporated a lot of details here. Okay, let's go one by one. Here is it. Committees and commissions that recommended state funding of elections. Indrajit Gupta Committee on State Funding of Elections 1998 suggested that yes, we should go for state funding of elections. Then Law Commission report on reform of elections 1999. They also suggested that we should go for state funding of elections. National Commission to review the working of constitutions. Venkatachalya Commission we call it. Okay, M. Venkatachalya Commission that was appointed in 1999 during Atal Bihari Vajpayee government. Then more recently, second ARC, the last one, 2008, they also suggested that there should be a complete ban on candidates incurring expenditure, political parties spending money on the elections, because that leads to the corruption in the system. Political party leaders, many leaders have been caught recently, liquor scam, etc. Okay, why do these people indulge in scams, corruption? Because they want to fund their next election. So that is why these committees had periodically suggested that elections should be funded by government, state. Okay, now the problem is, how should the political parties be given funds? How would you give funds to political parties? On the basis of their last percentage of votes secured. That means on the basis of the percentage of votes that they had secured in the previous election. But the problem is, my previous performance as an MP or MLA might not be as good as I'm going to perform in the next elections. Okay, so BJP was nowhere in 2004 elections, but BJP performed quite well in 2014. So how would you fund the BJP's election campaign on the basis of their past performance in the polls? So this is the problem with the state funding of elections. Second problem is, if the state funds the election, India funds the election, government of India incurs the expenditure, then what is the guarantee that private expenditure by political parties and MPs will not be there, right? And these are the related topics: simultaneous elections, transparency in political funding, electoral bonds case was there in the Supreme Court, right? Then expenditure limits on the candidates. What are the expenditure limits? What are the star campaigners? All these are the related topics. Coming back to these topics here, there is a curiously interesting thing. Central agency like CBI, Enforcement Directorate, okay, central agency probes and donations, investigation donation link is there. At least 5 of the big donating companies are facing investigations by various central agencies. So see the linkage. The more the investigation, the more heinous are the charges against a big company, the more is the donation. This is similar to a sinful person going to temple, a serious yet non-prepared UPSC aspirant going to God and saying that, please God, let me clear UPSC prelims. Please help me clear UPSC prelims. And he donates all the money that he's got. Similarly, the big companies which are corrupt, which are found to be doing something wrong, they are donating more to political party. Oh, my dear political party, please save me from CBI or ED or any other agency. I will donate everything I have. Right? So why these central agencies are being misused to extort money? This is a kind of legalized extortion. Right? That is why I always say that if we want the Swachh Bharat mission, the mission dealing with cleanliness and hygiene, to be successful, we need Swachh Bharat mission for political parties. The cleansing of electoral funding is the need of the hour. It will cleanse Ganga, Namami Gange, all other programs will automatically improve or get cleansed to a large extent. Probity in the functioning of political parties. Our constitution makers committed a blunder that they did not do anything to regulate the conduct of political parties. The only big reform, the only regulation, the only citation, mere citation of the political parties happened when anti-defection law was passed in 1985 via 52nd Constitutional Amendment Act. Before that, there was no mention of political parties. It is quite strange, guys. See, political parties are regulating the conduct of our MPs, elected representatives, the ones who sit in the temples of democracy, legislatures and the parliament, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Their conduct is regulated by entities, the political parties, who themselves are not regulated. And that is why the corruption, the major reason behind the corruption in the country is the funding of the elections. You see here, there are large infrastructure and construction companies. They were the largest donors, both in number and total funds donated. 23 infrastructure companies donated a total of 248 crore rupees. Where are they getting this money from? They are getting this money by government's action or inaction. Once the political party wins the election, that political party which forms the government will not do anything to regulate the misconduct of real estate or infrastructure company, or they will give contracts to big companies like GMR for making road project, etc. So that is how the quid pro quo is happening. You scratch my back and I'm scratching your back. This is what is happening between the big political donors and political parties. Even as the media, the election commission, they are all mute spectators. Nothing much. nothing more than that, right? So BJP was the largest beneficiary of these donations, goes without saying. See, the ruling political party, whosoever it is, Congress, when it was Congress, the Congress was the largest recipient. When it is BJP, BJP will be the largest recipient. So party in power gets the major share of the funding. The top 20 donors for 9 major Indian political parties contributed significantly to the party funds. Electoral trusts, Prudent Electoral Trust donated the most at 1061 crore rupees, followed by Triumph Electoral Trust at 132 crore rupees. Why the electoral trusts are created to fund the political parties? Please answer. If anyone knows the answer to this question, we will be dealing with the electoral trusts whenever the topic appears in the news article at a length. Okay. We will be dealing with the electoral trusts, how they are misused, how they are formed, why trusts are being used as a major source of funding political parties. Okay, overlap with electoral bonds, rest of it is theoretical in nature. Now, these are the top contributors for all the parties: Prudent, Triumph, Derive, Acme Solar Energy, Bharat Biotech. These are the companies and trusts which have donated the most. They are doing a lot of pious work, Punya ka kaam. They are doing a lot of pious work by donating to political parties. Okay, so the most sacred kind of funding for a democracy. On a lighter note, though, coming to the other aspects, so these are the related topics, and the counter proposal is, should we consider the idea of state funding of elections? Okay, other related topics that are going on with regard to election commission is the membership of ECI, the select committee. How should select committee be constituted? Should CJI be a member of it or not? Okay, so there's Anup Baranwal judgment. Just a revision for those who have been regular with the news analysis. What did the Anup Baranwal judgment say? Anup Baranwal judgment said that the election commission selection committee should comprise of Prime Minister, the leader of opposition, and CJI. All right. The new bill that has been passed, it declares that CJI should not be a member of the selection panel meant for selecting the ECI members. Now, coming to the other aspect, increase in gold loans. Why is it increasing? Why is it happening? NPAs. Gold value is increasing, 93,000 per 10 grams. And many people have now started pledging gold to borrow loans from banks like SBI, from non-banking financial institutions like Muthoot Finance. So RBI is worried about it because gold is, even though a precious metal, but its value might fluctuate. Okay, and people are not paying the loans they had borrowed on the gold. So that is another problem that reflects adversely on the balance sheet of the banks. Let's have more on this. Gold loan disbursals by the banks and financial institutions have increased significantly. What is the consequence? What is the result of it? A corresponding substantial rise in the non-performing assets. That means loans borrowed in the form of gold loans are not being paid. Not being paid at all. Okay. NPA in the gold loans jumped by 28%. So non-performing assets, loans that are not paid for more than 90 days, they are called NPAs. Total gold loans outstanding grew by 28%. As of December 2024, total gold loan NPAs reached 6824 crore rupees. This is a matter of concern for RBI because at present, even though the value of gold is increasing, but once the trade war stabilizes, what happens is, whenever there is uncertainty in the economic arena, whenever Russia-Ukraine type of war happens, Israel-Palestine war escalates, or Donald Trump creates uncertainty by levying heavy taxes, customs duty or tariff war starts between US and China. What happens is people start reposing their trust or hedging their funds into gold. Gold value appreciates. So tomorrow, if all this peters out, if all this stabilizes, no more trade war, no more Russia-Ukraine, no more Israel-Palestine, though that is a utopian dream, daydreaming. So if everything stabilizes, the value of gold will again come down, leading to a situation where banks which have lent money by keeping gold as a security, they would be at risk. Because people who have borrowed loan in the form of gold loan, they might not turn up, they might not come back to take their gold because they borrowed loan at the value of 93,000. Now the gold value comes down to, let's say, 75,000. Will somebody come back to pay 93,000 rupees and take back the gold worth 75,000 rupees? No. Even though there is this loan to value ratio is there, that the loan will be given up to 80% or 70% of the value of the gold. That is there. But still, why would anyone want to come back and buy and get the gold back when the value has already come down to the same level at which the loan was borrowed, or the value of the loan is equal to the value of the gold? I would rather prefer buying a new gold chain rather than going to bank and paying interest and getting my gold back, right? So this is a kind of pattern that has been observed. Now what is the RBI doing? RBI's review has been done of all the bank loans lent in the form of gold loan. RBI said that there are shortcomings in using third parties for sourcing and loan appraisals. So third party agency is hired by, let's say, HDFC Bank. That third party says that yes, gold is glittering, gold is all good, and person who's being given the gold loan, his KYC is all valid. He is a good customer like Vijay Mallya. Vijay without Mal, right? So that kind of a thing will happen, and the person will be given gold loan. Later on, it is found that his CIBIL score was poor, or he turned delinquent. He did not pay back his loan, thereby leading to a situation where banks, HDFC banks, NPAs will start rising. So many banks, they outsource these type of activities which require the verification of customers' document, customers' residential address, etc. Validation of gold without customer presence. Valuation of the gold is done without the customer's presence when his gold is to be sold. For example, he does not pay the loan, customer did not pay the loan, and bank auctions the gold jewelry kept as a collateral. So valuation of the gold is done without the customer's presence. Inadequate due diligence and lack of end use monitoring. So for what purpose is the loan being borrowed? That is also a problem, that inadequate due diligence. Banks do not understand, they do not get to know they are not at all interested in knowing the reasons as to why the gold loan is being borrowed. Okay, lack of transparency in the auction of gold on default. So if a customer defaults on the gold loan, his gold is going to be auctioned. How the auction is happening? Auction is given to some Ramlal Jewelers and Sons. That Ramlal Jewelers is very much known to the bank manager or to the regional bank manager. So Ramlal gives a tops or a diamond ring to bank manager's wife. Those kind of things are happening where banks are in a non-transparent manner auctioning these type of loans. Weaknesses in monitoring the loan to value ratio. So loan to value, as I said, value of gold is 90,000 rupees, let's say. Okay, how much loan should be given? 70% of the value. How much of the gold loan should be given? If the value of gold is 90,000 rupees per 10 grams, so 70% of this value should be given. So that turns out to be 63,000, but value of the gold is projected to be 1,20,000 rupees. So as to give more loan to the customer. Later on, when the gold prices fall, banks are at the receiving end. Customer does not turn up to borrow, to pay back the loan, and bank has to book a loss of around 30,000 rupees in this example. So these type of things are happening. Now, what has the RBI directed? NBFCs have been told to review their policies and practices, identifying gaps, and implement the remedial measures. For example, close monitoring of gold loan portfolio. Gold loans cannot be more than 15% of the overall loans lent by the bank. Housing loan, another component. Car loans, one component. Education loan, another component. And your gold loans, another component. So total gold loans, if the bank is lending total loans worth 1,000 crore rupees, so total gold loans cannot be above a certain percentage threshold prescribed by RBI. All right. So steps in the past were taken. Previously, borrowers could repledge the jewelry on the same day by paying only the interest. So they can renew their gold loan. Ordinarily, gold loan is issued only for 1 year. But customers were able to repledge the same gold and, just by paying the outstanding interest. But now this is not possible. Customer will have to apply for a fresh gold loan by applying the paper, by applying the, giving the paper required documents, and then paying the processing fee, thereby discouraging the customer from borrowing the gold loan afresh. If at all there is no need, customer should not borrow the gold loan. Okay, so this is there. Then RBI on 9th April, this day, last few days, okay, the maximum loan to value ratio for consumption gold loans should not exceed 75%. If the gold's value is 90,000 rupees, maximum loan that could be lent on gold is 75% of the value. So this is called as loan to value ratio. Okay, so this is a technical thing. Now, eligible gold collateral should not be used for both income generating and consumption loans concurrently. So what happens is, what is the meaning of this line is, I borrow 1 lakh rupees from the bank. Bank asks, what do you want to do with this 1 lakh rupees? I tell them that I want to borrow gold. I want to buy gold. Bank says, okay, you buy gold and pledge it with us. Keep this gold with us as a security until you pay back 1 lakh rupees. I said, okay. Okay. Afterwards, the value of the gold increases to 1.5 lakh rupees. So now I tell the bank that give me additional 50,000 rupees because you had given me a loan of 1 lakh rupees. Now give me 50,000 rupees additional because the value of the gold has increased. So this is what leads to borrowing the loan for both income generating and consumption loans on the same piece of gold. This is what is further risking the bank's money. Okay, so all these things are there. Now coming to this thing, panel, there is a cheetah project steering committee that was constituted in 2022. You must be knowing that we are introducing cheetahs in Madhya Pradesh, Kuno National Park and various other national parks of Madhya Pradesh from countries like Namibia in the past, South Africa, and this time we want to introduce these cheetahs from Kenya, South Africa and Botswana. I want you to simply have a look at what is the capital of Kenya. What is the capital of South Africa? You all know. What is the capital of Botswana? All right. So Gandhi Sagar. Now what is happening is, cheetahs are being relocated from Kuno National Park to Gandhi Sagar Wildlife Sanctuary in the Madhya Pradesh. Madhya Pradesh is home to 11 national parks, Kuno, etc. This is the map: Kuno, Madhav, Panna, then Bandhavgarh, Sanjay, Dinosaur F, right? Satpura, Pench, Kanha National Park. So these are the names. Just have a look at them because this is important for your environment and ecology section. Now, relocation of these cheetahs to Gandhi Sagar, about 300 kilometers from Kuno, should be done carefully considering the stress factors like heat during the road transport, etc. Already 7-8 cheetahs that were brought from Namibia, they have died. They have succumbed to hostile or unadaptable and atmospheric or environmental conditions in the Kuno National Park. So that is why, because of lack of prey, cheetahs are not there for these cheetahs to feed upon. Enough prey is not there in the Kuno National Park. That is why they are being relocated to Gandhi Sagar Dam. Gandhi Sagar, this wildlife sanctuary. Okay. Now, the first phase involves releasing 4 to 5 cheetahs into a 6,400 square kilometer fenced area in the western part of the sanctuary, the Gandhi Sagar Wildlife Sanctuary. Okay. So, conflict is happening because of the overcrowding of cheetahs in the Kuno National Park. They are having fight amongst each other, leading to a situation where they end up succumbing to injuries, etc. So that is why it is yet to be decided whether the already released cheetahs will be relocated or the ones who are still in cages or enclosures will be released. So just awareness is required. How many national parks are there? What is this project steering, cheetah project steering committee, etc. Cheetah Project Steering Committee was constituted by National Tiger Conservation Authority in May 2023. Okay, so the project is initially started in 2022, but Project Cheetah began in 2022, and this Cheetah Project Steering Committee was constituted to bring cheetahs from African countries and relocate them, to introduce them to Kuno National Park and certain national parks of Rajasthan also, so as to increase their numbers. Okay, now I want you to answer a simple question. When was the Project Tiger started? Okay, this is Project Cheetah. We are talking about Project Tiger. When did it start? Here are a few questions that were asked by UPSC with regard to this topic. Which of the following protected areas are located in Kaveri Basin? Nagarhole, Papikonda, then Satyamangalam, then Wayanad Wildlife Sanctuary. So this is one question. Another question: among the following tiger reserves, which one of the following has the largest area under critical tiger habitat? 2022 prelims. These are the two questions from 2022 prelims. Please answer these questions. Otherwise, this DNA is just going to be an entertainment for you. Okay, we have covered it. You will just get a feeling of having read the newspaper, having understood things. But in order to genuinely take away something, you should be answering these questions according to me, right? Now, Project Cheetah began in 2022 with the translocation of 8 cheetahs from Namibia and 12 from South Africa to Kuno National Park. The project has faced setbacks, including the deaths of 8 cheetahs and 5 cubs born in Kuno. Thanks to, because of the hostile environment, etc., they could not adapt to the conditions of the Kuno National Park. Okay. So, what is the name of the river, if any, near the Kuno National Park? Another question. These questions will definitely help you get a better command over the map. These were all. Now, for the Telegram, for the PDF, you can visit the Telegram channel. The link of the Telegram channel is given in the description box of this video. That will take you to the Telegram channel. The PDF will be shared there in a short while from now. And please answer these questions. I'll be putting around 4 or 5 questions on the Telegram channel as well. Do answer those also. Okay, thank you. This was all in today's news analysis. With this, I wrap up the session, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye. Have a good day. Thank you.